Nobody laughing at Durk. Now it ain't funny. You know you had put that hit out on that boy, so you've been trying to avoid karma. They say karma is real.
On August 7th, 2026, new court filings in the Lil Durk case revealed significant details about his alleged involvement in multiple Chicago area crimes. Details that arrived alongside a major procedural ruling that will determine exactly what the August 20th trial jury is and is not allowed to hear.
Better have your gun for me. Better have your gun for Booney. Better have your gun for C. You don't believe me, you gon' see. You gon' end up by that tree.
Know that we did it.
The developments came alongside a major ruling from the judge presiding over the case, a ruling that changes the structure of Durk's upcoming trial in a specific and consequential way. Durk, born Durk Derrick Banks, has pleaded not guilty to all charges and is presumed innocent unless and until the evidence establishes otherwise through the formal legal process. The judge granted Durk's motion to sever the new racketeering charges from the current case. Specifically, the judge ruled that charges included in the prosecution's third indictment, which include homicide in aid of racketeering, cannot be presented alongside Durk's upcoming trial for the alleged homicide of Lil Pob, which is connected to the alleged targeting of Quando Rondo's cousin.
Left the courthouse for the hearing with my son today. It went well. Alhamdulillah, everything went well. The judge favored us and ruled in our favor today and granted our motion. Alhamdulillah, man. The prosecutor tried to bring them bogus charges, but the judge severed those charges, and we're ready for trial now.
Prosecutors had sought to introduce evidence from a 2019 Atlanta case and a 2022 Chicago homicide into the current proceeding. The judge declined that request. With the trial set to begin on August 20th, that ruling significantly narrows what evidence the jury in the Lil Pab case will be allowed to hear. To understand why the severance ruling matters so much, it helps to understand what prosecutors were trying to accomplish by consolidating the charges.
Fans make a plan, watch the store in the mail. Give him 39 years, I heard him crying to sell. Boy, getting money right here. Hey, you got the Louis? Oh, okay. That's all, man. We been taking flights. Jet life.
When federal prosecutors add racketeering charges to an existing case, one of their primary strategic goals is to be able to present a pattern of criminal conduct to the jury, showing not just one alleged crime in isolation, but a documented history of violence, planning, and enterprise. A jury that sees evidence connecting a defendant to multiple homicides, multiple conspiracies, and a sustained criminal organization operates with a significantly different picture than a jury evaluating a single alleged homicide in isolation. Severing the charges removes that broader pattern from the upcoming trial's evidentiary scope. For the defense, the severance is a meaningful procedural victory because it limits the narrative the prosecution can construct in front of the August 20th jury. For the prosecution, it is a temporary setback rather than a substantive defeat. The additional charges remain pending and will be addressed in separate proceedings, regardless of the Lil Pab trial's outcome. What the ruling does not do is eliminate those additional charges, reduce their severity, or indicate that the prosecution's evidence on them is insufficient.
Were you saddened by the news that he was?
Man, I heard it. I ain't even go to sleep at night. I can't believe it. Hold on, man. Oh, let's talk about some other.
The racketeering charges will be addressed in a separate proceeding after the current trial concludes. So if Durk is acquitted in the Lil Pab trial, the additional charges connected to the Stefan Mack and FBG Cash cases remain pending and would proceed. The severance ruling is a procedural victory for the defense in terms of limiting what this jury sees, but it is not a resolution of the broader federal case against Durk, and it does not protect Durk from those additional proceedings. One of the most significant investigative findings that has emerged in connection with this case involves a documented pattern in Durk's social media activity. Investigators examining Durk's Instagram live history reportedly identified a consistent and specific pattern. Multiple times when violence allegedly connected to O Block was carried out against rival figures, Durk was actively live streaming on Instagram at the moment the violence occurred. The incidents cited in connection with this pattern include the case of Stefan Mack, the tragedy of FBG Duck, the passing of FBG Cash, a Georgia incident targeting Quando Rondo, and the passing of King Von. The analytical significance of that pattern depends on what one believes it establishes.
Hey, yo, for them, you better have your gun for me. Better have your gun for Booney. Better have your gun for C. You don't believe me, you gonna see. You gonna end up by that tree.
Know that we did it.
Man, I got my gun for Boone, they call him Chief. Man, we should've killed him soon, cause he a thick.
There are two fundamentally different interpretations. The first is that the pattern is genuine coincidence, that Durk, like many entertainers and public figures, uses Instagram Live frequently, and that the number of violent incidents connected to his world during this period was high enough that some of them would statistically overlap with his streaming activity regardless of any coordination. The second is that the pattern reflects deliberate behavior, that going live on Instagram served a functional alibi purpose, creating time-stamped public documentation of Durk's visible location and activity at the exact moments that alleged criminal events were taking place, making it significantly harder for prosecutors to place him at the scene of any specific incident.
He gets locked up in a cell, and they give him a cellmate. He tells his cellmate who he murdered, how he murdered him, the homie he did the murder with, and who was supposed to pay him for the murder. Thank you. Come again. Perfect. Got him. So he confessed, essentially.
Whether those coincidences are meaningful in any formal evidentiary sense, whether being live on Instagram at the time of a crime establishes anything about planning or advanced knowledge, is a question the legal proceedings will address. What the pattern does is create a specific and documented investigative thread that prosecutors have pursued in the context of the broader enterprise case they are building. The frequency of the overlap and the specific incidents it encompasses is what has made it one of the more widely discussed elements of the federal investigation. The first homicide case prosecutors are expected to formally pursue against Durk if he beats the Lil Pab trial involves FBG Duck, unalived on August 4th, 2020. Duck was shopping in Chicago's Magnificent Mile district, the upscale retail corridor on Oak Street, when someone from O Block spotted him in public. According to the documented account of what followed, multiple O Block members moved quickly from Parkway Gardens, moved through a stairwell, and got into two vehicles, a Ford Fusion and a Chrysler 300. City surveillance cameras and license plate readers tracked those vehicles from Parkway Gardens all the way downtown, where they pulled alongside Duck's vehicle as he exited a store.
He's talking to a cellmate. Listen to how he's talking to his cellmate, chat. Yeah, I had the standard, folk. With a 60 round in that on Mike. I let 3 shots out when he first came out. Marley said, yo, wait till he get to the car. I said, yo, tweaking, boy. By the time he get to the car, that's enough time for him to get his pipe. Yo, so now the cellmate, who's a confidential source, is saying, tell me more.
4 men exited the vehicles and opened fire. Duck attempted to take cover behind a parked car. He was hit multiple times. His girlfriend was struck in the wrist. A third person with him was hit 3 times. 38 shell casings were recovered at the scene. Within minutes, Durk went live on Instagram, filming himself boarding a private jet while his alleged street rival had just been assassinated blocks away. Days after Duck's tragedy, King Von appeared in an interview in which, when asked directly whether he was saddened by what happened to Duck, he appeared to struggle to suppress a visible reaction. That interview has been widely circulated in the context of the ongoing federal proceedings. FBG Cash passed on June 10, 2022, while driving through Chicago's Auburn neighborhood on West 81st Street. According to the documented account, a dark Cadillac pulled alongside his vehicle and he was struck 13 times on the driver's side. Police recovered 23 shell casings at the scene. He survived long enough to be transported but did not make it. Shortly after Cash's passing, Durk went live on Instagram with someone beside him saying, "On camera, you know we did it." Additional content posted that same day was characterized online as Durk celebrating the tragedy. Those documented details are part of the public record surrounding the federal investigation and the additional charges prosecutors have indicated they intend to pursue following the resolution of the current trial. To understand the Stephon Mack charges, it is necessary to understand the documented relationship between Mack and Durk's brother D. Thang. Mack is alleged to have been connected to D. Thang's tragedy, a tragedy that prosecutors argue provided Durk with a specific and personal motivation to order Mack unalived as retaliation.
What else is Slap Khan? Y'all be doing shout outs, man.
Well, ain't nobody laughing at Durk. Now it ain't funny. Now your favorite rapper go to jail and look like he got a no bond like me. That boy got a federal no bond. You know you had put that hit out on that boy, so you been trying to avoid karma. They say karma is real. I say it ain't real. I say you reap what you sow. They say that's
That motivation, revenging the passing of a family member, is one of the more emotionally immediate forms of motive that appears in criminal proceedings, and it is the specific context prosecutors have placed around the Mack allegation. Mack was gone on January 27th, 2022, shortly after exiting the Youth Peace Center of Roseland on West 111th Street. He was, according to a newly unsealed federal filing, the leader of the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples at the time of his tragedy. The most damaging piece of evidence in the Mack case, if authenticated, came from an undercover informant. An individual identified as Mike City AJ was arrested in connection with the homicide and subsequently placed in a jail cell alongside someone he did not know was an undercover federal agent. According to the court filing, AJ told that undercover agent that Durk had placed a $70,000 bounty on Mack and was attempting to get it raised to $90,000. AJ also told the informant that he had met with Durk in person during a podcast recording on February 17, 2022 to discuss the arrangement. That confession, made to someone AJ believed was a fellow inmate, is now part of the formal federal court record. Shortly after Stephon Mack was unalived, Durk posted to his Instagram story. The initial post showed him laughing. 15 minutes later, he posted another story with the phrase "for D Thang," a direct reference to his late brother.
Put your hand on top of your head, please.
But out here?
What?
For what? Atlanta? Good.
Yeah.
Oh.
So just face him and we're going to just change it.
You too, I hate it like this, partner. You ain't never give me no hard time.
Hey, man, when you can't explain to your aunt, man, like, it's not, we don't know what your case is. We just people to come pick you up.
Y'all just get y'all orders.
Right.
Prosecutors argue that the sequence of post documents Durk's state of mind in the immediate aftermath of Mack's tragedy in a way that is directly relevant to the homicide for hire allegation. The case also touches on the circumstances surrounding King Von's case in 2020, and specifically on what cooperating witness O.T.F. Vonnie has allegedly provided to federal prosecutors about the events of that night. The documented account of King Von's case, as it has emerged through the Vonnie cooperation, begins at a club called the Monaco Lounge in Atlanta, which Von and his crew attended after a separate celebration event. Quando Rondo was present at the same venue. When someone informed Von of Quando's presence, Von moved toward him immediately without hesitation. A confrontation broke out in the parking area. Quando Rondo's associate, Lil Tim, emerged from behind a vehicle and opened fire on Von. Von was shot multiple times and fatally wounded. In the chaos, both groups moved toward their vehicles trying to reach hospitals. The confrontation had escalated from recognition to shooting within a matter of seconds. The significance of the Vonnie account in the broader Durk federal case is not primarily about the mechanics of the night Von was unalived. It is about what preceded that night and what followed it. The documented relationship between Durk and Von included a shared armed robbery charge from a 2019 incident at a restaurant called The Varsity in Atlanta, a case in which both men appeared in court together and for which they were both ordered to maintain distance from each other as a condition of their release.
Security guard let him walk. You get paid he get paid to protect. How the f you let him walk over? In fact, you ain't supposed to let him fight. He ain't supposed to be touching nobody. Security guard, if anything, you make sure Quando them leave. Whoever else they was with, you make sure they leave. How you let him walk over somebody that's the reason y'all here, the reason everybody in this parking lot here, because this man right here making the money and y'all his entourage. But that security guard, it's unfishy with him. That's why he deleted his Instagram.
Crazy.
I definitely feel like it's foul play. I don't know where it's coming from, but I definitely feel like it's some weird shit going on.
King Von was unalived less than a year after that court order was issued. In 2022, the charges against Durk and against what would have been Von's case were dismissed in the interest of justice. The timing of that dismissal, following Von's case, has been a consistent subject of public scrutiny. OTF Vonnie's cooperation with federal prosecutors has been one of the most significant developments in the overall Durk case. His name has been removed from active custody records, suggesting he has been released or transferred to house arrest as part of a formal cooperation arrangement. His own father publicly stated that Vonnie provided information to prosecutors not only about Lil Pab's passing, but about King Von's as well. The breadth of what Vonnie allegedly shared, covering multiple homicides across multiple years, is part of what makes him among the most significant cooperating witnesses in this federal case.
I'm gonna give you this. It's a back door and I got all the pieces. That's all I'm gonna tell you. As Durk asked Vonnie, is it open? Vonnie told him it's off the hinges.
Wait. Are you talking about the Von? Like King Von?
Listen very carefully. When the payment was made to Little Tim, the next day or the same day, Durk asked Vonnie, was it open? This is what he asked him. Was it open? This was the exact words. Was it open? He told him it's off the hinges.
Are you saying that Vonnie backdoor King Von? No way. That was right here.
You heard what I just said. Guess what? You need motive first, right? Yeah. I got bankers that'll testify that or will make a contract or make a statement to you and let you know that this is the amount of money he had, this is what he had, this is that another. You need motive first and foremost. I got text messages from the lawyer letting you know that who told on Durk before, who told on Von before he died.
Whether Vonnie's testimony about King Von will be formally introduced in the Lil Pab trial, held for separate proceedings, or both depends on prosecutorial decisions about relevance and strategy. The severance ruling specifically limits what can be introduced in the upcoming August 20th trial, but the information Vonnie allegedly provided to investigators remains part of the foundation the prosecution is building for the broader enterprise case that will follow. The trial for the Lil Pab case is set to begin on August 20th, 2026. The jury in that case will evaluate the evidence specifically connected to that alleged homicide and the conspiracy prosecutors alleged surrounded it. The text messages showing Durk pressuring O-Block members to target Quando Rondo and anyone close to him, the financial records establishing the alleged $1 million bounty, the testimony from cooperating witnesses Vonnie and Jam, and the financial evidence connecting Durk's documented earnings to the alleged criminal enterprise.
Why would Durk want Von?
All right, man. Let me give you this. First of all, you didn't sign your rights over. You ain't in no 360 deal. First of all, you can't bring nobody into the business and they surpass you. How you bring me to the table and I pass you up? Don't nobody want their cheap spot taken, do they?
That's an interesting
Dude was
thing.
a slack. He was signing the boys. Von wasn't no slack.
That's interesting. I did find out that Von didn't have any contractual ties to Durk like that, which was interesting.
Man, come on, man. He wasn't even signed to him. How's this his friend? He lied on Breakfast Club and said, "Hey, you think your man would be sitting here with $300,000 worth of jewelry on and he not have an attorney? He had a public defender."
What the August 20th jury will not hear, because of the severance ruling, is the broader pattern of alleged crimes and criminal enterprise that prosecutors believe contextualizes the Lil Pab case within a sustained and organized criminal operation. That broader pattern, including the FBG Duck, FBG Cash, and Stefan Mack allegations, will be presented in separate proceedings that follow.
Was it you that said that with the whole narrative about Vonnie snitching with the text messages? Like that's
Yeah. I don't know who said that. No, that's just saying what he finna cop out to, and this.
I ain't gonna lie, I said that in my video. I'm free to know what the Von name was for.
You gonna tell that just like you orchestrated Lil Pab, you orchestrated this, and guess who you were?
Prosecutors have already signaled through their filing of a third indictment and through the information gathered from cooperating witnesses that they have the evidence they need to pursue those additional cases, regardless of the outcome of the current trial. The 2019 Atlanta case, the armed robbery charge at the Varsity that Durk and Vaughn faced together, is also expected to become a more prominent part of the broader enterprise prosecution. That case documented a specific criminal event.
Right before we go inside the club, one of his homeboys, he came to the car and said, "Hey, so-and-so's here." And Vaughn just jumped up like, "Oh, come on, let's go."
A specific court appearance and a court order requiring Durk and Vaughn to maintain distance from each other. Vaughn's passing less than a year later and the subsequent dismissal of the charges form a documented arc that prosecutors are expected to argue is directly relevant to understanding the scope of Durk's alleged criminal enterprise. The Instagram live pattern, Durk streaming at the moment of each alleged crime, will likely be a contested evidentiary question in every proceeding. Prosecutors will argue it reflects deliberate alibi construction. The defense will argue it reflects nothing more than the ordinary frequency of a public figure's social media activity. Whether any jury finds the pattern meaningful depends on how the full body of evidence frames it and what other corroborating evidence appears alongside it.
Jumped out the car. By the time Vaughn jumped out the car, I don't even think he knew where so-and-so was. He just jumped out the car. He bumped into so-and-so. As soon as he bumped into so-and-so, started brawling.
The additional cases FBG Duck, FBG Cash, Stefan Mack, and the broader racketeering framework will be addressed in separate proceedings that will follow, regardless of how the first trial concludes. Durk has pleaded not guilty to all charges. He is presumed innocent unless and until the evidence establishes otherwise through the formal legal process. We will cover every confirmed significant development as the August 20th trial begins, as verdicts are reached, and as the additional federal proceedings that prosecutors have signaled are coming continue to develop in the months ahead. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you stay updated as the trial begins and as new developments emerge. SpillHop, we do not just report the story, we slow it all the way down, go deeper than the headlines, and make sure you actually walk away understanding what is really happening and why it matters.